I am Amber M. Davies. I am also Perty Nerdy. Welcome to my After Hours podcast, which is technically before hours because my life is chaos. uh, I'm working out the kinks, but for my second episode, I'm just so happy to be able to do this. Um, I have some interesting stuff for y'all today. I went down like a deep investigative rabbit hole yesterday. I was kind of shocked at myself because I mean, okay, folks, there is a difference between Facebook stalking, right? When like someone has a friend request, you get a friend request and you're like, "Oh, let me make sure they're not like a bot. Let's make sure this is a real live human being." Because maybe you don't recognize the name or, for whatever reason. And then you go look at their profile and now they're getting smart enough that, you have to kind of start looking to see if they have posted anything else aside from pictures. Do they have comments on their pictures? Do they have, I don't know, it's wild. Like the things you have to go through now, just as a human being, to avoid being scammed. Like, it's wild to me. So I'm going to start off with here's what's lighting my bulb right now. A friend yesterday sent me a message and said, "Hey, I got this email, this link. I thought maybe you might know something about it. And is it legit?" Which, hey, I was just, I don't know. I was very honored that they thought I would know anything about this. I mean, I do have connections to, certain industries. So, it's possible I could have heard of this person, heard of this link, heard of this thing that he received. And so okay, trying to make sure I organize this in such a way that it all starts making sense, because this investigative journalism hole that I went into, it went deep for me. So they sent me the link that they received, and the link automatically I was like, I don't even know what this is. It's from loom.com. And you may, if you have received this type of communication, already know what that is. I will get to it in a minute. But the link, when you get those little previews of a link, it pops up with my friend's YouTube page. It looks like it is a snapshot of my friend's YouTube page. And then in the bottom left corner, there is a little picture of some young man. And apparently they sent a message to him and said, "Hey," this was a recorded video message, right? It pops up with, video of my friend's YouTube page scrolling through this young man. There's no live video feed of this young man, by the way. It's just a picture, a static picture. And he is talking so fast. I mean, even in this day and age when people like to listen to things like at 1.5 times speed or, 2 times speed, this was really fast. I had trouble understanding everything he was saying, and that was probably intentional. And just saying like, "Hey, I think your YouTube channel is great. I think we can like make you a lot of money. Let's, bump this up and get you all these, subscribers." And I'm paraphrasing here. But it was basically they were making promises and saying, "Hey, we can build your YouTube channel." And so my friend was right to feel that this might be a little fishy. And so on his behalf, I decided to go down this investigative journalism rabbit hole. I think I was a little bit inspired by that recent YouTube stream I shared out in my last podcast, Hidden Rabbits, because that is essentially what her channel does when she does Girlfriend Explains. Her boyfriend doesn't understand something about some current pop culture event that is happening, and she goes down these very deep investigative rabbit holes to explain not only the history and the impact, but like what all is happening here. All right, so here's the angle I'm taking on this, right? As a creator, I I take this personally, and I want to protect all my other creator friends, right? Whether you are a writer, a streamer, a YouTuber, whatever. The scams are getting a lot harder and harder to identify, right? And especially for up and coming creators who are trying to grow, small creators, that is terrifying because you are literally on this edge of you're waiting for gold to strike. You're waiting for all your hard work to pay off, and someday someone's going to notice something and they're going to come to you and they're going to say, "Hey, you have a good thing going. Let's help you out." That's I think what the creator dream is. At least, most folks I know or my experience, you're waiting for something like that to happen. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be that, your hard work over many, many years, you have a slow, steady growth. But there are those cases, you hear about them, where there's a small creator who all of a sudden just, they have struck gold and made it big really quickly. So that's, I think because of that, most creators have that dream. It could happen to them. Will it? Probably not, but it could. You're always waiting for it, right? So when modern scams come out of the woodworks and they don't look like scams anymore, they look polished, they look personalized, they look professional, it's getting harder and harder for small creators. So this outreach email that my friend received, this one was, I believe, from Harris Creator Growth. Don't quote me. Because here's the thing that I found as I was going through this rabbit hole is that Harris Creator Growth also has a million other names attached to it. So the rabbit hole just got wider and wider and wider as I was digging through. But here's what they were promising. They were promising audience growth, as a podcaster, why does my mouth get so tongue-tied? All right. Audience growth, monetization, predictable income, creator coaching. So at first glance, this sounds like it could be legitimate, and I started digging. Here's what my initial research found. All right. Instagram post. So I Googled. That was the first thing I did, was just Googled Harris Creator Growth. Now, this is Harris with one R. Haris. All right. So the initial Google search comes up with an Instagram profile for Harris Creates. Harris Creates Instagram. The first thing I noticed was that this account had 222 posts and about 750 followers. For someone promising creator growth, those numbers immediately stood out to me. And if you look in the bio, there is an account linked to a second profile. Harris, I may mispronounce this, Reese? Harris Reese. So it's Haris and then Reis. Harris Reese, Instagram. Now, what's interesting about the second profile that the first profile links to is that the pictures are very, I don't want to say very different, but if you, let's just say, when you go to check out Harris Creates Instagram, you see an average looking guy, right? He's not too buff or big. He's not too skinny. He's not too fit. He's not too ugly. He's not too hot. He's just like this average dude. And then you go to the second profile, Harris Reese. And if it's supposed to be the same guy, I can barely recognize it, because this guy looks like the first guy, the first profile, but on steroids. Okay, now I'm not saying he's taking steroids. I'm just saying he is way more buff, way more fit. If anything, looks taller. Just a completely different person. I found that very interesting. And this profile had nearly 40,000 followers. Okay, so that is following a little more in line with someone who's trying to tell a small creator, hey, I can help you grow. There was like stronger branding. It was a more polished image on that second profile. I just found it very interesting that the first profile links to this profile. This profile also claims that Harris Reese is a 2 times national best-selling author, a 2 times national award-winning entrepreneur, 7 figures in his early 20s, and featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur magazines, endorsements from other major names. All right. So my being, okay, best-selling author. As someone in the writing space, I can tell you that you can make the claim best-selling author under the right circumstances. And in this kind of like digital creator economy, these titles and accolades are often technically true, but still create like a very misleading impression. Okay. So, for example, I could be a bestseller on the Amazon list if the category was uh, female wrestling ferret self-help book, something like that. If that was the name of the category and I was the only book in that category, or maybe one of a handful, I could be on that best-selling list of that category. That's how misleading something like this could be. So I searched, and what's funny is for being a 2-time best-selling author, I only found 2 books that Harris Reese has written in. One is titled Kairos. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kairos. And is in the realm of like a self-help book. However, that book, I could find it only on like self-pub platforms, Amazon, things like that. It had 3 reviews. Or like it was something like 3 to 5 reviews between both books. Look, here's the thing. I spent hours going down this rabbit hole trying to document everything, and I could have kept going. However, my channel is not Hidden Rabbits, so I'm not going to spend an hour on this. If anything, I was going to spend 10 minutes talking about this, and I haven't even gotten through all the stuff. So I am going to flippantly throw out things that I recall in my research or that I have jotted down in my notes. Please don't hold me to my word as being 100% accurate. I am being as accurate as I can be to my memory, but I am not an investigative journalism channel. I did this on behalf of my friend. All right, with that over. So, Kairos, one of the 2 books that Harris Reese has written, was a contributing author to. Really, the big pull for that book was another author. I believe his name was Lane Etheridge. It was something like that. But when I searched that guy, I could see that guy had many more books. And when I say many more, I think I saw like 4 or 5 under his own name. So if anything was probably making this book be a bestseller, it was because that author was attached, and most likely not because Harris Reese was attached. He was a contributing author, and I think there were maybe like a handful of other authors involved for Kairos. Now, there's a second book, and this one appears to be written strictly by Harris Reese, Millionaire Mindset. And on Amazon, you can usually flip through like the first handful of pages as like a sample. And I wanted to take a look because this book also had a handful of reviews. One of them being something like, how can you have a millionaire mindset if you still live at home? I don't know who made that particular review on this book, but quite scathing and sounded almost personal, as if this person knew Harris Reese, or maybe there's something in the book because I only was able to scan through the first few pages, but I found that very interesting. So in those first few pages, Wow. All right. You can go check it out for yourself. I could sit here and read it. It is not like it. It is not written in such a way that I would think this person is a professional writer. Granted, he doesn't claim to be a professional writer. He just claims to be a best-selling author. Did not read that way. It also had some grammatical errors, some formatting errors. It did not look like it was edited. The other thing that I noticed from the first few pages, because this is it's marketed as a self-help book, right? But when you read the text, it very much reads, there's some generalized self-help language. Find your why. I think there was like 2 pages all about finding your why. And there was no advice in there to help the reader to find their why. If you read through it, it was very much, here's how I found my why. You should find yours. Like, that doesn't help any reader at all. Find your own path, find your own way. Hope you find it, find your why. Wow. All right. So 2 books. Of those 2 books, apparently they are best-selling. I could not verify how or where, but definitely not listed like in any formal lists of best-selling novels. So that claim already just threw that out of the window. So the other thing that I found was that Harris Reese is promoting this website, Influential Inc. Apparently, he is partnered with another young gentleman, Austin Varley, and they have Influential Inc. as a company where they also claim that they can help you take your business, bigger and make your business make 6 figures, 7 figures. They're featured in Forbes and Yahoo Finance and all these things. All right. So when I went looking, oh man, some people are very, okay. I'm gonna stop here for a minute because I want to make sure, and maybe this is difficult because I am a human being and I am flawed. I don't want this to come off as like some witch hunt against Harris Reese or against Austin Varley. My witch hunt is against just people targeting small creators. Now, there's a level to this as I dig deeper where I am a little impressed with the way that they have marketed themselves. Because I feel like if you look through all these little pieces as I start laying them out, they are very shallow. Every little piece is like a shallow little thing thrown out into the interwebs. But when you have so many of them out, like you have cast this very wide, shallow net, it can easily look to the person who's giving it just a glance that these people are like extremely legitimate. It really takes a little bit of extra digging. So it impresses me, but also makes me just really hooked out. All right. So I'm going to try not to spend too much more time on this. Austin Varley said he was featured in Forbes. So I went searching. If I go to Forbes magazine website or Forbes website and did a search, the only thing that comes up for Austin Varley is also like he contributed like a little blurb to this article that was like the top 10 pieces of advice for business folks. Again, paraphrasing, it was something like that. So not featured in Forbes. That a feature would be, we are talking about Austin Varley only for a few pages here. No, Austin Varley contributed to an article in Forbes. I want to make that clear. So it's the way you spin things, folks. Also, I found it really interesting. Austin Varley has an IMDb bio that exists, but there's no visible credits. I'm curious about that, and I didn't want to dig too much deeper into it. But can you do that? I thought you had to belong to, like, I don't know, like a union, or at least have a credit of something to be on IMDb. Again, something I really didn't want to dig too much further into because there's so much more. The other thing, after searching through Austin Varley and Harris Reese on other platforms, they do periodically have an account here or there. Like TikTok for Austin Varley, that was much bigger than, like, on Instagram. Similar numbers. It was like 100 people following them, 25 posts, YouTube, like maybe 11 posts. TikTok, way many more followers. So again, I think they're just casting like a wide net and then sticking to whatever works. Is that a horrible tactic? No. Any small creator would probably do that. I just feel like they're also small fish that have learned how to make themselves look like big, big fish. The other really interesting detail, I don't know what this is, but on Austin Varley's Instagram account, he's categorized as being a janitorial service. I don't think that's a tactic, but it also seems like a really weird mistake to make. Well, like, you have to intentionally put that in your bio. So I'm not sure why that is. It may mean absolutely nothing. But, I don't know. Investigative work is all about patterns and, weird isolated details. All right, so let's go back to this Loom video. I went to loom.com because I wanted to see, like, if this video is sourced from and has an address of loom.com. What is loom.com? Loom itself is a legitimate website. It's marketed as an AI-powered video messaging platform. And I mean, again, it looks very polished, but I think nowadays most anything that is using AI is for that purpose, right? To take something that, if you'd done it yourself, would probably not look as polished, but now with the advent of AI, you too can look like any other business website. So the fact that it's an AI powered video messaging platform, that's another red flag, right? And then I go looking through Reddit. Bless Reddit, because people just speak their mind out there. So many people talking about either Harris Creates or, all these other derivative names of this business. There were some other names out there as well that didn't include Harris, didn't include Creates, didn't include Influential. Like, they're just changing their names all over the place. But people are talking about this video, and they were sharing their own videos. And sure enough, it's like, oh, look, this is the same exact video of the same exact young dude saying the same exact thing, but the background is now featuring someone else's YouTube page or someone else's website. And that's when they all started, comparing notes and realizing literally that video, like, they purposely did not say anybody's first name, YouTube page name, handles, anything like that. The actual video itself is not personalized, other than that they have lifted all of that stuff and then just changed the background to someone else's YouTube page or, whatever it is they're trying to target you for. So for someone who is claiming that they can give you, like, personalized service and increase your growth and give you predictable income, I just found that to be very interesting. Let's see. The six figures, them claiming to have, 7 figures or, helping you to grow your business 6 figures. Again, I feel like it's incredibly vague, because 6 figures could be $100,000 or it could be $900,000. And there's no way to really validate that unless they're like a public company, right? I did look in like the Better Business Bureau. I didn't find any complaints against them. Interesting. They are based out of, I believe it was Arizona, where Austin Varley appears to be based out of. And so they do have like a business license there. You know, I don't know. I mean, it all seems legit-ish. But they could be making six figures, and it could be combined they are making six figures or seven figures. Is that yearly? Is that monthly? Is that overall since the inception of their business? You can make that a true statement, and you just have to look at it the right way. So, let's see. Anyway, I will include the links in the show liner because I feel like I've spent enough time on this. Like I said, I don't want to necessarily bring them business. I don't also want to just, create a witch hunt. I just am upset. And I want people who receive these types of messages. Do you have to go down like hours long rabbit holes to, protect yourself? I mean, no, you don't have to. If anything, send them my way. I might do it for you because apparently that's what I just did. The bigger issue here is that small creators are often isolated, they're overwhelmed, they're emotionally invested in the thing that they're creating, and they're desperate for momentum. Some creators will work at this for years. And if I don't want to say if they're doing it right, but if their focus is organic growth and not, pay to play, then that growth, it just is so slow. It's so slow. That's just how the algorithms and the social media networks work. So when someone arrives promising, growth and systems and monetization and shortcuts and, a personalized touch, they like what you're doing. It is hard to ignore. So I just want my fellow creators out there to, take a moment, and whether it's a Google search, Reddit, I swear, is gold. Go to Reddit. People will tell you. In my experience, growth is something that will take time. Miracle systems promising overnight transformation often remind me of like crash diets, right? Like, yeah, you can take this pill for, however long, a month, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever the shortcut is, and you will lose weight. And that might happen. But the second you stop doing it, that progress is gone, because it is not organic. It is something that is rarely sustainable without having some other negative impact. Let's just say that. So I continue. Really, this is what's lighting my bulb. Is this happened, and it makes me wonder how knowledgeable we as creators need to become about AI-generated marketing, AI-generated or enhanced branding, all of that. Because as creators, I don't want to say all of us, right? But the majority of the folks that I work with in the game industry and in the writing industry, AI is the devil. It's bad. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. But something like this is starting to make me really wonder, like, if we just shut our eyes to how AI works and how the bad people, if you will, are using it to their advantage and to scam us, the good people of this community. I don't know. Do we keep our eyes closed? How can we remain up to date on how AI is being used against us if we are not constantly being vigilant and keeping our eyes open and learning more about it. We don't have to use it. I think we need to keep learning about it, because as a society, like we still, I'm going to paraphrase. I hate to just lift something that some other creator has said, but it was such a good point. And I'm very obsessed with Hidden Rabbit's channel, but was it Hidden Rabbits? I don't want to misquote. It was called, at Hidden Rabbits. But I think she said something like, no. It just fell out of my brain. What did she say? See, I went through those caveats trying to protect and not say something and make it sound like it was my own thought. And now it's just the thought has left me. I remember now. I had to take a moment. I had to take a breath. I think she said something to the effect of, we as a society have not even figured out how to put protections and laws in place around how the internet is used. There are still laws that are being created to protect people because there are bad people out there that will use the internet against us. And the internet has been out for some time. AI is still relatively new. So I think as creators, we need to somehow continue to learn more about it without using it. And I don't know how that works or what that looks like. So that is what is lighting my bulb. That was probably longer than 10 minutes. I didn't even look to see how long that was going. Oh my goodness. All right. State of the nerd. Guess what? So Traveling Dragon Tabletop Cruise, I found out, is sold out. Hooray! If I had poppers and streamers, woo, we sold out. All right. The tabletop cruise that I am a host GM on is sold out. Great news, right? However, I am still marketing it. I'm still promoting it. I did find out that if you still want to get in late, because that, I don't know, at least for normal, I don't want to say normal conventions that aren't on a boat, typically ticket sales will kind of have your regulars who will buy way in advance. And then there are the attendees who wait until like the week of, or until the very last minute where they can buy tickets because they, I don't know, don't want to have something on their calendar. I don't know. It's opposite of what I would do. I like having my calendar planned out way in advance, but I know that there are people who absolutely hate having something on the calendar until the very last moment because they just don't want to be locked into anything. So I understand that. So for those of you who decide later this month or up until, I don't know when, I don't know how long, if you decide you still want to go on the Traveling Dragon Tabletop Cruise, on the cruise that I am host GMing, let me know. Send me a message via my social medias. My Linktree profile is pretty much everywhere now. So if you can't get a hold of me, I don't know, send a smoke signal because I make myself available everywhere. But just let me know, and I'll see what I can do to work directly with the travel agents to get you your ticket. So it is still possible-ish. No guarantees made, but I will fight on your behalf to go because I want you to go. All right. Next, let's talk about Fantastical Geographic. I really want to go through this with you now because I finally made the official announcement that I am attached to this collaborative project. And I'm really excited. I mean, my stuff won't be in it until the June issue. But I want you all to understand what Fantastical Geographic is about. And since this is, I'm now, After Hours is technically a podcast. I was going to screen share and show you all, but for the folks out there in podcast land, they won't be able to see this. So I'm going to do my best to describe everything. Now, firstly, I need to go through some history because this was super intriguing to me. When I was with Dungeon Studios, we had talked briefly about doing something called Fantastical Geographic. I didn't come up with the idea. I don't know who did. It was already an idea in its inception by the time I arrived at Dungeon Studios. But it was marketed, or it was going to be marketed as something like National Geographic, but in their fantasy realm. It was super intriguing and I loved it. And I did try to like pick it up and start it. But at the time, I don't know if it was my schedule or just that, I was the only person doing it, but it was an overwhelming project and it wasn't something that I could just push through to completion. So it never did see the light of day publicly for Dungeon Studios, which is a shame. But I mean, it was like 2 days after I left Dungeon Studios. I am on my social medias, and I see Devin Rue post that she is looking for creatives to help with this project. And I recognize the name because Devin Rue is the official cartographer for Critical Role. So I found it very intriguing. I was like, "Oh, what's Devin Rue working on? What do you mean by creatives?" Because I don't have artistic talent. My artistic talent is stick figures and chalk drawings. That's the extent of my artistic ability. So I didn't know what she needed. I reached out and she said, any type of creative, let's talk. So we met and she mentioned that the project was Fantastical Geographic. So I was like, oh no, is this a conflict of interest? But it couldn't have been. I never said anything to anyone about Fantastical Geographic. So I don't know. Now, here's the thing with creatives, right? I'm sure this has happened to some of you out there as well. I have had ideas let's go way back to Amberland, okay? When Amber was just a little itty bitty girl, okay? I remember being at Great America, which is a theme park here in California, and thinking, wow, how cool would it be if there was a roller coaster where you could be laying down so it feels like you're flying. And probably, I don't know, 10 years later, that roller coaster existed somewhere. I I say this only because ideas like this, as specific as it may feel to one person, no one else is going to come up with this idea. It happens. All right. I also remember talking about oh, how cool would it be? Someone at Dungeon Studios had said, how cool would it be if we had Jones just left me, a shadow of a creature, a D&D creature. And then instead of who's that Pokemon? It's who's that monster? I've seen other creators do that. We used to have at Dungeon Studios, I can't remember the name of the feature now, but, they'd watch movie clips and show clips and then talk about the mechanics, the tabletop mechanics that would be involved with that particular thing happening in the movie. And I've seen that happen at Gooey Cubes. Gooey Cube stream. Good Morning Zayath on Saturdays. They've done something similar. So I just want it to be known because I definitely don't want there to be any conflict of interest. But it was 2 days later, I was like, oh, what project? Did not even know what project I was coming into. And then found out it was Fantastical Geographic. And also, they had already been doing Fantastical Geographic for months. It is now published. It has been on their website. So putting that history out there because it was very interesting. Tabletop Cinema. Thank you for that. Yeah, so, and thank you, Blank QZ. There are other versions of artistry. There are. Thank you for reminding me of that. And there's proof of my artist greatness. You guys are sweet. Thank you. So, now, once I heard about Fantastical Geographic with Devin Rue, I was just beside myself. How awesome would it be to be a part of this project? Because I have been looking. There's, when things converge, boy, I try for these sessions to be an hour and I just get to talking. But, I've been talking about how I want to incorporate something from my Filipino roots into gaming, into my writing. And I had a character that it was inspired by my Filipino grandma with her unconventional wisdom of, you know, scotch tape instead of band-aids and things like that. Um, so I kind of, she sent me some samples of the work. I put my head together and realized I would love to do this monthly advice column coming from the character of not my grandma, but the character that was inspired by my grandma. So I had named her Mama June. She's been a character in my world for a few years, but it wasn't until I brought it up to them that they pointed out, well, there's this Mama June from Honey Boo Boo. There might be a negative, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Not misrepresentation, but people might immediately go to that Mama June when they're reading this article. So I hope that I wrote the article with enough of my grandma's voice and I've never even seen this Mama June from Honey Boo Boo, so I have no idea what this Mama June sounds like. I probably should have done some investigative research into that. But so that article is going to be, I believe, out in the next issue in June. I have already submitted. I'm just waiting for, approvals, edits, what have you. Also, I have submitted to my friends at Skyhurst Studios to give me some official artwork for her. So I don't know when that will be coming, but I'm very excited about that. Not only will it be art that will be close to my heart because it will represent my grandma, but it'll be like my first like character out in like the public world. I don't know. I'm beside myself. All right, let's talk about FanGeo, right? Enough about me. Let's talk about FanGeo because FanGeo, as we call it, lovingly call it, FanGeo is created by a bunch of creatives. And I need you to understand all the talent that is going into this webzine, all right? So if you go to fantasticalgeographic.com, you will see all the information that you need, but I'm going to lay it out here. All right. It is a monthly webzine, a monthly magazine, not currently in physical form, but that doesn't mean that it won't be right now. So, you will get a magazine, and I will say the sample that I saw, don't quote me, it was like 20, 30 pages. I mean, so it's a pretty decent size. It's not like just a handful of pages. And each month, they will delve into some fantasy realm location. Now, June, we're actually going to be putting out, I believe, don't quote me again, I'm still new to this project, but I believe the issue for June will be free because it is going to be set in Baldur's Gate. So if you are familiar with the realm of Baldur's Gate, you would probably love this issue. All right. Now, in the issue, what we do, all the creatives that are involved, we have our own, we're basically like investigative reporters, people from the field, correspondents, people who travel, and we have a character in world that we will write from their perspective. So for example, it could be someone who is like a traveling chef and they travel throughout the fantastic realms to taste all the different recipes and or provide recipes. All right. We have other people who actually, the real creative is going out and watching Twitch streams of other live plays, and then they are corresponding and writing like they have just come from this realm and this fantastical thing happened and you missed it. The bard seduced the dragon and oh my gosh, and like just writing it like they were there at this, emergent moment. There will be articles on the top 10 places to visit while you're in Baldur's Gate. There will be, you know what? I'm just going to open one of these real quick so that you can, you're not going to see it, but I'm going to see it. I should have had it open. So everybody's writing from their own characters' perspectives. There's the Explorer pack. Here we go. All right, yeah. So this one that I'm looking at that you can't see because you're in podcast land, this one's 26 pages. All right, we have a beautiful cover page. It does look like, it's modeled somewhat after National Geographic, with an image on the front that an artist has done. By the way, this is all 100% human made, no AI. We have ads that are like in-world ads. So, Graham Marston's cat wrangling services from the home sand pit. Yeah, from the home sand pit to on the road, we'll take care of your glaring issues. So some of these ads, they just look like ads you would see in a magazine, but they're meant to inspire you so that you can take this, and it is built system agnostic, so that you can take this issue and now you have a cat wrangling service in the next town that you are in. There's ads for payday advances. There are board postings for quests. There are in-world books that you might want to read, and it'll tell you what the books are about. We also have creatures. Oh my goodness. I wish I could show this to you. But here's the thing is I wanted to make sure I had permission from all the artists to share, because typically these issues will not be free. June will be free because it's Baldur's Gate and that is not our IP. But since I wanted to jump in, I wanted to dive in, I want to share this with you. So I'm not sharing the picture, but I'm going to explain to you. Imagine the cutest little black lamb or goat. It's a goat that you have ever seen. And you approach it and it opens its mouth and tentacles come out because it is a miniature doom goat. All right. So there's an article on miniature doom goats, and not only is there an article, but there is art. And the article tells you, like, about where they can be found and what they're like. And there are other creatures out there. There is this arcane elemental that someone was able to snag a photo from, it's art, and they've written an article about it. We have events. So there's this Orchest annual fish fry competition. How cute is that? Because this is a coastal town. So this writer has written about this event and they're attending the event. And also, guess what? There will be a recipe. So this magazine, I'm going to tell you this article, The Mariner's Gala, the city with the saltiest balls. All right, folks, if you don't have a sense of humor, come on now. Community spotlights. There's just oh my gosh, this beautiful full page art. Let's see, what else? More stories. Oh, there's sky signs. Like, so if you want to know, like, your, what am I thinking of? Your sky sign, your zodiac, your fortune for the month. It's all here. It's amazing. Let's see. So this is just the webzine. Oh, there's a crossword. There's a word search. You can advertise real world events in here as long as you kind of like, make it seem in world so it fits the vibe of the magazine. But you can put an ad here for real world stuff so that you can sell. There's a coupon. I think I saw in here. There was a coupon for somebody's services. So you get the magazine every month. What it also comes with, if you're willing to pay the little bit of extra, is an Explorer's Pack. Now, the Explorer's Pack is an accompanying zip file, if you will, of things that go along with this issue. So, for example, that Doom Goat, there is a full stat block for this Doom Goat. We have, let's see, the Adopt a Critter. So we have full art files so that you could include them in your game, and then you can just hold up that art file and be like, look, this is what you're looking at. The Doom Goat art. Let's see. We have STL files for things. There are maps and these are maps that you can use for VTT, or you can print them out for your in-person game. We have those official recipes for like the fish fry. All the notice board postings are in image files so that you can, download them and use them as you please in your game. There are gridded maps, non-gridded maps. Let's see what else. There's even music. People have created music that you can use to immerse your players in your games. There are PDFs for like insights on how to include gaming. Where did it go? Playing a blind character, and other tips or insights for the visually impaired. There are, what else is here? So we have the STL files, we have the JPEGs, we have the music files. Thieves can't. There's images here. Oh, there's images here. So if you wanted to incorporate Thieves Can't in your game, there's like a little pictograph of all the different Thieves Can't and what they mean. I mean, come on, folks. So the fact that you can incorporate this into your game and you can drop it in at any time, and then you also get physical files that you can use. Just amazing. So I would love for you all to take a look at Fantastical Geographic. And in June, I mean, it's going to be free to get the issue. It's not going to be free to get the Explorers Pack. I do believe there will be a discount for the Explorers Pack. Don't quote me on it. We're still working on things. But not only is it set in Baldur's Gate, but it's going to be free. I think. Pretty sure. I think. I'm still figuring out how it all works. All right. So keep an eye on all my socials. I've linked to things for FanGeo so that if you're curious, you should be able to find it wherever you find me. And then lastly, I want to mention I made a official announcement that I am a sponsor for MagmaCon. So in the June issue of FanGeo, I'm trying to do some cross promotion. So in FanGeo, I'm hoping to have some kind of ad for MagmaCon and also a giveaway so that if you enter into the giveaway, maybe it's a contest, maybe words matter. If you enter, you will have a chance to win a free badge for MagmaCon. So you will be able to see that in the June issue of Fantastical Geographic. However, I also want the folks who watch me to have that as well. So keep your ears and eyes peeled. I will be announcing or sharing an opportunity where if you are interested in going to MagmaCon and you want to go for free, you might want to enter into this contest. So that should be coming up very, very soon. MagmaCon is July 10, 11, and 12. It is a virtual gaming convention, so you don't have to go anywhere. It'll be really hot in the summer, and you get to stay in your air-conditioned room, and you get to game with folks like Luke Gygax and other folks in the industry who will be there. I will also be running a game. I right now, I think I'm signed up for one seminar, which will be it's called Adapting TTRPGs for the the next generation. Essentially, ways that you can take any adventure. I mean, any adventure. Let's talk about like Call of Cthulhu, if you will. Like, you don't want your kids necessarily to be playing horror. It's up to you, parents. But if that was something you didn't want, you could take something existing like that, and we can adapt it for kids so that it is not necessarily so horrific or bloody or graphic. You can take any adventure and you can adopt it for kids. And that's what I'm going to walk through. I will also be running Liquid Hot Magma, which is the game that I am working on with Doc. It is Tomb of Horrors meets 70s International Spy. Yeah, baby. So if that is something that is interesting to you and you want to potentially win a free badge, then stay tuned. All right, that's the end of State of the Nerd. I think for this episode, I'm going to skip Ad Hoc Hui. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I want to share with you a little something from FanGeo. And we can use that to do a little bit of world building. So in one of these issues, I think it's the Orchest issue of FanGeo, Devin Rue has created it looks like a deity called the Wandering Mistress. And in the Explorer's Pack, there is a 3-page PDF that outlines everything you need to know about this deity. She is the goddess of travel, exploration, compassion, and adventure. But what I find very cool about this is that there are also gifts from the goddess. And there are a good handful. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 magical items associated strictly with the Wandering Mistress. So you get fantastic art of these magical items, and then also, descriptions of what these magical items do. Maybe they're not magical. They are divine items. If you think about it. So let's go through some of this. All right. Mostly worshipped by nomads and sailors, the Wandering Mistress is also a favorite of those seeking to explore the uncharted. Her symbol is a bright star compass with a woman wearing a crown of nature and sea pearls. She is said to take the form of an unexpected guide for those who are lost and may take the form of an animal, person, or star, which is pretty cool. She is also the patron of... She is also the patron goddess of cartographers, guiding their hands to create masterful maps with mystical arcane abilities. So I love the idea that she could easily be a goddess to someone who is seafaring, right? I mean, there's talk of stars and cartography, but it also sounds like there's a little bit of like art in there, helping to guide your hand to create masterful maps. I mean, that could also help with navigation. I love it. She's also known to appear to those lost at sea or in nature as an animal, typically a dolphin or a sparrow, or a guide in human or humanoid form, and will lead them to a safe place they know in exchange for small markers placed along paths so that others can find their way. I'm going to pause here for a moment. I don't know if you can hear the goblin noises that are happening down here, but my dog is voraciously cleaning himself and it's noisy. There's information on a specific constellation that is associated with this deity. And let me go through some of these magic items real quick. And then basically for Ad Hoc Hui, I'm going to leave you with the homework of how would you incorporate this in your world? Is there anything you would twist or, a creative use for the Wandering Mistress in your world? These magical items are a starlight ink pot, the never-ending ink pot, to mark any map, and I believe the ink is like a disappearing ink. The coin of delving, let's see, exploration, often leaves a token to those she's graced with her presence. A small coin of delving. If dropped a distance greater than 5 feet, the coin issues a melodious ringing sound when it hits a surface. Oh, that's so interesting. So you can hear that chime and you can determine distance. The compass of recall, the map case of duplication, and the cartographer's spyglass. Oh, which, by the way, the art is beautiful for this cartographer's spyglass because it has a little, like when you have your glasses, which I have my glasses, but when you have the little chain that hooks around the back so that like your glasses don't fall off, this has a chain for the spyglass and it looks like a necklace of pearls. Very cute. All right, so I'm trying to think, how would I incorporate this into my world? In my particular world, people like to throw treasure off the bow of their ship before they go sailing as like a token to the gods, or usually to feed the dragon turtles that are beneath, so that they leave them alone. They don't really understand how dragon turtles work, but that's their thinking. So I'm wondering if in my world she could appear to folks as a dragon turtle. That's interesting. I mean, that's kind of a big deal, right? Like, it's so much different than being approached by a dolphin or a sparrow. All right. Let's move on from ad hoc hui because I have an interesting community topic. If you're still here in the chat, I would love to hear from you. It hasn't officially been announced yet, but I'm going to be at PAGE, which is Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, as a featured guest in January. I'm very excited. We're still working out some of the details, but this kind of got me already thinking about my 2027 con calendar, because this year has been a little rough. It's been a little tough. Aside from, family things I've had to take care of and kind of, automate some systems in my life to take that burden, I don't want to say take the burden off, but to minimize the burden. My son graduating from high school and getting him into college, which is a very new experience for us. I went to a business college. It's not the same as going to like the full college experience. My husband didn't do college. My oldest didn't do college because he ended up going straight to the Navy. So we're a little in the blind, and it's a little anxiety inducing. So there's just a lot going on this year. And also my son, like, he's my youngest. I'm about to be an empty nester. So when he says, Mom, I want you to be here for all my lasts. I want you to be here for prom, even though, like, I'm basically, we're going to eat food. I'm going to take off in a limo and go. I want you to be here. I want you to be here for this and that. And I want to be present. But boy, it's taking a lot of my time. I don't want to say it's taking a lot of my time. What am I trying to say? It is reducing the amount of available time I have in my calendar to make plans for my business, not even for myself, not for my personal self, for the business of Perty Nerdy, for writing, for publishing, for game design. It has taken a lot of that time, and that's okay. I knew that's what I was doing this year, and I have told people I'm not going to conventions from this time to this time. I did a lot in February, and I think that was pretty much the last that I did that's the last I traveled to, with StoryCon and GenghisCon, which was an amazing experience. And then from then, any other events I'm doing are local, they're drivable, I don't have to stay overnight because I need to be present for the things that are happening in my life. I told myself that if I can get that part of my life situated, those systems automated, things like that, that once my son gets settled into college, come September, it's go time, baby, right? I already have plans to start writing my first novel, and I'm going to be streaming it live here. I have a few conventions that I will be going to, aside from the Traveling Tabletop Dragon I should probably say it correctly. The Traveling Dragon Tabletop Cruise, which will be in August. I have another Pacificon. I don't think that's been officially announced, but Mondo is a good friend of mine, so I will be there in some capacity at Pacificon, and that's at the end of August. And then I'm not entirely certain what's going on in September or October yet. November, there will be Operation Barnstorm 2, Lamageddon. That's a local con I'm very excited about. Mondo's also running that one. I really don't have much else for the rest of the year, which is fine. It's actually fine by me because I have plans and I'm going to start writing my novel. But my 2027, I want that to be my year of conventions. There are all these opportunities. People who have invited me to conventions, and I've had to turn it down because of this year and just the way things are. And I have been just crossing my fingers, hoping that, like, if you have interest in what I do, just hang on to that feeling for like a year And please invite me back. I mean, that's kind of I'm not going to hold these people to it, but I really wanted 2027 to be my year of conventions. So when Paige reached out, Philadelphia area gaming expo reached out and said, hey, would you happen to be going this way? Like, would you want to come to our convention? It started me thinking about my 2027 calendar, because that one is in January. And for some of these conventions, you really do have to plan like that far in advance, almost a year in advance. In some of these cases, I want to go to GaryCon. I want to go to GaryCon this year. And those tickets, boy, some of them sell out like the second that they come out. So I'm already thinking about it. And so all this to say, my community topic is, what's your favorite convention? What's your favorite event? What's your favorite? I mean, even if it's not, some people who might be watching me or listening to me, you may not even go to gaming conventions or writing conventions. What about a concert? Because I'm about to be an empty nester, yo. I want to go to some concerts. I want to do some stuff that I haven't been able to do in a while. So, what are your favorite conventions, events, concerts? Are there any events you would like to see me at that you know of, that you would, hey, Amber, you would be a great fit. Come over here. All right, let me tell you some of the things what's on my wish list for next year, and what I will definitely be going to next year, and what I'm going to try to fit in. All right, so from the chat, are you going to GalaxyCon? I will tell you right now, because I'm a human. My brain is blanking out on what GalaxyCon is, so I'm going to take a look real quick. Because it sounds familiar. GalaxyCon, formerly known as Super Conventions or SuperCon, privately owned company in Florida. Is this what we're asking? Oh, no, there's a GalaxyCon in San Jose, so that's California. I'm in California. All right. There's a GalaxyCon in a few different places all over the U.S. All right, cool. All right. So I don't have plans to go, but I'm going to now put it into my list of things to look into. All right. So at the start of the year, January, I will be at Page. Very excited about that. Also in January, most likely will be virtual FrostCon again. So I do love doing these virtual conventions. It's not like we're even planning FrostCon yet, but my assumption is I will be doing that unless some other physical event is happening that coincides with that weekend. Because if I have to choose over a physical event and an online event, I guess it really depends. Boy, it really depends. Because doing an online event is nice. I get to stay home. I get to be with my dogs. Jones doesn't hate me. You know, like there's some pluses to being at home and doing a con. So that's my January. February is, I don't want to say it's spoken for, but StoryCon will be happening in February. And that is a must. I think, I don't even know what could make me say no to StoryCon every year, because they have such a good cause that I support. And I'm also on the contest committee, but like, I love StoryCon. I love supporting StoryCon. That also means that I have a dedicated month where I'm going to visit my family that lives in Utah. So, you know, I think StoryCon is going to be a must every year. There will also be, I believe, Genghis Khan in February again. And I had such a fantastic experience with Genghis Khan last year as their special guest. I'm not saying that they wouldn't invite me back as a special guest. I have no idea if that's something that they do. But even attending as just an attendee, that con was amazing. I mean, just the best experience I've ever had. So if I have an opportunity to go back to Genghis Khan, even as an attendee, I probably will. So that's a probable. Lit RPG Con is on my list. I really want to go to Lit RPG Con, and I believe that's in Colorado. And it's also around the January, February timeline. I did not actually put exact dates for these cons. But because the first novel I'm going to be writing is a lit RPG, and also I just love lit RPG, I really want to go to this con. And I know a few folks in the gaming industry who have also found their way to going to Lit RPG Con, whether as an attendee or as a vendor or as, a guest. So I feel like there's some crossover. I'm finally seeing some crossover between like my writing world and my gaming world. So I really want to investigate and see how Lit RPG Con feels for me. And it might be a really good time since I'll be in the middle of writing one. So very much putting that on my like high priority to go to list. All right. So Gamma Expo is another one. That one I kind of really wanted to go to this year, but the timing again just wasn't working out. And if you don't know what Gamma is Game Manufacturers Association. And anyone, I don't want to say anyone who's anyone, right? But most folks that are like in the industry as professionals are in Gamma. You pay for a membership. And I believe with your membership, you get 2 free like tickets to go to Gamma Expo. Don't quote me. But it's the one like convention where you can do a lot of business to business. So most of these gaming conventions for the standard attendee, you are going because you want to play games and you want to interact with the people who make the games and you want to buy the games and you want to buy the dice. And, that is what those conventions are for. Gamma is not that. Gamma, you attend and you are a business interacting with the other businesses. So it's a way for you to network. It's a way for you, for me, let's say as a writer, to go, well, I have this pocket of 3 months where I'm not attached to a project. I wonder if I can find another company who needs a writer and like, let's meet them and maybe we'll vibe. And now I'm on their project. Like that would be really cool. Or just to network and meet because there are so many people in the industry. Like aside from Genghis Khan, I couldn't imagine going to a regular gaming convention and getting to meet the creator of, Chaosium, to meet the creator of GUI Cube, like you just don't always get those experiences at a gaming convention because you're there to game, not to meet folks in the industry. So Gamma is one I've been wanting to do. I haven't yet gotten my membership. I keep putting it on my like Christmas list every year. And then it's just something that like, it's not to blame my family at all. Usually it's like, hey, if you want to get it. That'll be your Christmas gift. And then I like just can't pull the trigger because my brain tells me that I am not ready yet. And then, of course, this year it was like, well, why am I going to buy this membership when I can't even attend? So I think that's going to be my plan for 2027. I do plan to go to Gamma Expo. So I will probably get myself a membership for my birthday next week. Let's see. I already talked about Genghis Khan. Chaosium Con. I love the products that Chaosium puts out. I love the people that are associated with Chaosium. I met a lot of them at Genghis Khan and just like, it's a crew, man. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a crew and they just roll out together and you can feel how close they are. And I'm still friends with them now. Like we interact online. I'm in a few of their servers and it's amazing. So I definitely want to go to Chaosium Con if I can fit that in. KublaCon and Pacificon, those are kind of like my staple conventions here in California or on the West Coast. So those, I don't want to say they're low priority, but like they're easy for me to fit in because I don't have to travel anywhere. And the thing about these conventions as an industry professional is that unless you're invited as a special guest, you're paying for your ticket. When I say ticket, I mean you're paying for your badge. Then you have to pay for your travel and your room. So doing these conventions as an industry professional, I mean, don't quote me on it. Is that going to be like my tagline? I have to keep saying it. I need to stop. But from the folks I've talked to, you go in the red going to these conventions. You don't go to these conventions to make money. You go to these conventions, because they're fun. I mean, it's not like you're not getting value out of them, right? Like, I have talked over and over again about the value of going to conventions. You don't have to buy these games. You can play all the games you want, and you get to play sometimes with the people who make them, which is cool. You're getting to meet new people. So there's a ton of value in going to them. But as an industry professional, you don't go to make money. You go because it gives you exposure. It keeps you relevant. You get to meet other people and network. And the people, they're everything. Like I said, I wouldn't give up that Genghis Khan experience for the world. That was amazing. And I met so many people there. And it's like you meet your tribe, like crazy. So all that to say that as I'm planning out my 2027 year, there's got to be some strategy involved with like, which ones are the ones I need to prioritize because I'm going to have to use airline points or hotel points or figure out how I can afford to do this because I really want to go. I want to meet those people, or I want to have this experience, or I want to get my name out there and some exposure. So it's all about strategizing where and how and which ones. And some of it is also just like, because I just really want to. So that's the community topic. I want to hear what conventions you would like me to be at. Also, notice on my list here, I don't have any freaking horror conventions. Not horror, folks. Horror. That is a weird word to say. Horror. I want to go to a horror convention. Someone brought it up in one of my previous streams, and I'm just flabbergasted that I've never been. So yeah, in my year of conventions, like I would have nothing, I don't want to say nothing to offer a horror convention, but like that's not really my industry space unless this horror convention also wants some information on like games or like one of my short stories. Like, so I would literally be going just for pleasure probably, but I really want to go. I want to see what this is like. And maybe just by going, it's a little bit of market research too. Like, can I find my way into going to a horror convention? Maybe if I write something scary enough, they'll want me there as a guest, because that would be cool. So I want to hear from you, community. Where should I go? What should my year look like? Where would you want to see me? And also, like, when I go, I take video and I share. Like, so if you want to see what a convention looks like without going, just put it in there. Let me know. I'll see if I can fit it in, and I'll share with you what that convention's all about, what it's like. So anyway, let's wrap up. Encouragement of the day today would be that I encourage you to find, I mean, I push a lot of gaming conventions, but and it's not self-serving that, you know, virtual MagmaCon is virtual, but like if I'm interested to find out what has prevented you from going to a gaming convention. And I understand in some cases, like it could be a medical issue or something that you cannot help. So if going to a virtual gaming convention gives you a little bit of an idea what going to a convention is like, let me know. Let me know. Because as a you know, promoter, what am I thinking of? What's the word I'm thinking of? I'm a proud sponsor. That's the word I'm thinking of. I'm a proud sponsor of MagmaCon. I may have an ability to get you in because I want people to experience. So encouragement of the day, try to find a way to go to some kind of gaming convention or event if you have never been before, because I want you to experience what that community is like. I want you to find out that you can play all these games, brand new games. Like, why pay $60? And I'm not just talking about tabletop role playing. I'm talking about like board games. These board games are huge boxes of games with 1 million parts. And maybe that's not for you, but you still want to learn how to play it or experience it and say you've done it. I encourage you to check one out this year. Plan it out for 2027. Maybe come to one that I'm going to be at, or let me know that you're going, and then I'll try to plan to be there and meet you. All right, I got to wrap this up, folks. I've run long again. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, folks. All right. Hey, everyone. I really want you to have a happy weekend. I will see you again next week. I'm going to try to start doing these regularly on Friday. The only reason I'm doing one today is that I'm not going to be available tomorrow. Because we're going to Lake Tahoe to see the Pink Floyd Spectacular Laser Show, some such. It's going to be fun, but I will try to start doing these on a regular weekly basis. So keep an eye out for Fridays at about this time. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.